All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to crack the code on what is, for my money, one of the toughest, but also one of the most important parts of the Azure AZ-305 Solutions Architect exam, designing migrations. This is really where the rubber meets the road for any cloud architect. And look, if you're studying for this exam, you've probably felt this in your bones. Someone on Reddit nailed it here. This test isn't about just memorizing what a service does. It's a test of your architectural reasoning. The scenarios they throw at you are complex, they're tricky, and they are absolutely designed to make you think. So our goal today is to give you a solid framework for that thinking. So here's our game plan. We're going to follow the complete architect's journey. We'll start with what the exam is really asking you. Then we'll dive into assessing your current setup, choosing the right migration path, dealing with those tricky hybrid setups, what happens after you land in Azure, and we'll wrap up with the most important part, the architect's mindset. Okay, first things first. The biggest mistake you can make is treating the AZ-305 like it's some kind of knowledge quiz. It's not. It is a design test, plain and simple. They're going to give you a bunch of business requirements and constraints, and your job is to figure out and then justify the best possible solution. And check this out. This is why we're focusing on this so much. The design infrastructure solutions slice of the pie is the biggest one on the entire exam. We're talking 30 to 35%. That covers pretty much everything we're talking about today. Networking, compute, storage for your migration. So yeah, nailing this section is absolutely crucial if you want to pass. So, where does every single successful migration project start? It's not with picking shiny new Azure services. Nope. It starts with a deep, thorough assessment of what you already have. You have to map out that entire on-premises landscape before you can even dream about moving it. And for that job, your number one tool is Azure Migrate. Seriously, think of this thing as your mission control, your discovery engine. It's this one central hub that reaches into your on-prem world and figures out what servers you have, what apps are running, what databases they're hitting, and, this is the critical part, how they all talk to each other. And the stuff you get out of Azure Migrate? It's pure gold for an architect. It tells you exactly what you've got, it maps out all those messy dependencies, it even gives you a first-pass recommendation for a solution in Azure. And it estimates how much it's all going to cost. This data is the absolute foundation of your entire design. Okay, so we've got our data, we know the landscape. Now comes the big architectural decision. How are we actually going to get these workloads into Azure? This is where you have to choose your migration path. And this right here, this is the question. It's the one you're going to be asked to answer over and over and over again in the exam scenarios. And it's not just about what's technically possible, right? It's about what's best for that specific situation. This table lays out the trade-offs perfectly. You've got Rehost. That's your basic lift and shift to IaaS. It's fast, it's low risk, but you don't get a ton of those cloud-native benefits. Then you've got Refactor and Rearchitect, where you start changing your app to use PaaS services, which gives you more advantages, but takes more work. And finally, you have Replace, which is just ditching the old app entirely for a SaaS solution. So here's the bottom line. And if you remember one thing, make it this. There is no single best answer. It doesn't exist. If the business tells you they have to be out of a data center in 30 days, guess what? Rehost is the right answer. If they tell you they want to innovate and cut down on operational costs for the long haul, then Rearchitect probably makes more sense. The scenario's requirements are your North Star. Okay, let's be real for a second. Migrations are almost never a simple, clean cutover. For a while, you're going to be living in a hybrid world with some stuff on-prem and some stuff in Azure. And designing for that messy reality is a key skill for any architect. A classic design pattern for this whole hybrid mess is the hub and spoke network. It's a classic for a reason. The hub is your central point for all things connectivity and security. It's where you put your firewalls and your VPN gateways. Then your actual apps live out in the spokes, and they all connect back to the hub. It gives you amazing centralized control. Here we go. A classic exam trip-up, Azure Front Door versus Traffic Manager. They both route traffic around the globe, but they do it in very different ways. Just remember this. Traffic Manager sends your users to the data center that's geographically closest to them. But Front Door is smarter. It sends them to the one with the best performance, the lowest latency. It's a small difference, but it's a critical. And of course, a solid hybrid design isn't just about network pipes. You got to have a plan for identity with Microsoft Entra ID. You need secure access to PaaS services using something like Private Link. You have to think about data residency rules, and you need to govern the whole thing with Azure policy. A lot of people think the project is over the minute the last server is migrated. For an architect, that's just the beginning. Now the real work starts. You have to optimize, secure, and govern everything you just built. And look at this cost journey. This chart tells a story you see all the time. It's super common for a simple lift and shift to actually cost more at first than it did on-prem. Don't panic, that's normal. The real savings, the big wins, they all come from what you do after the migration. That is such a critical thing to get across. So how do you actually get those savings? Well, this is where you start acting like a true cloud architect. You use the cloud's native powers. You right-size those VMs that were way over-provisioned on-prem. You move data to cheaper storage. You set up auto-scaling so you only pay for what you actually use. And you use reservations for your steady workloads. This is how you unlock the real power of cloud economics. Okay, let's bring it all home. We're going to tie all of this together by focusing on the core mindset you need. This isn't just about passing the AZ-305. It's about being a great solutions architect. And it really just boils down to 3 simple principles. First, and this is the big one, it's non-negotiable. Every single design choice you make has to map directly back to a business requirement. It doesn't matter if it's about cost, performance, security, whatever. You always start with the why before you even think about the what. Second, you have to understand that architecture is the art of compromise. There's no such thing as a perfect solution. It's always a balancing act. Do you want more performance or do you want a lower cost? Do you want tighter security or less complexity? Your job is to understand those trade-offs and make the smartest call. And finally, you have to be able to justify your decisions. For the exam, this is everything. It means you can look at all the options on the table and clearly explain why your choice is the absolute best fit for that scenario's specific needs and problems. So, let's leave you with a classic exam-style brain teaser. Put yourself in the hot seat. You've got a simple app to move. But listen to the keywords, quickly. Small team, tight budget. What migration path is screaming at you right now? What trade-offs are you making? Go on, think it through. That kind of thinking, that is what's going to lead you to success, both on the AZ-305 and way beyond. Thanks for sticking with me, and seriously, good luck on your architect's journey.